Hello and welcome to Pittsburgh City Council Standing Committees meeting for Wednesday, October 14th, 2020. My name is Kim Clark Baskin and I'm the Assistant City Clerk. With us today, we have our sign language interpreter, Sarah Pelk. The following is a list of legislation up for preliminary approval by Pittsburgh City Council. Finance and Law Committee, Mr. Lavelle is the chair. We have Bill number 771. Resolution amending Resolution 880 of 2019, which authorized the fee schedule for 2020 pursuant to Chapter 170 of the City Code in order to update the fees associated with the Shinley Park Ice Rink for the remainder of 2020. Bill number 772. Resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in the total sum of $392,000 in favor of DH, a minor, by and through her natural guardian, CRH, as final settlement related to the action filed in the Western District Courts of Pennsylvania. Public Safety Services Committee, Mr. O'Connor is the chair. We have Bill number 773. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Safety to enter into 3 sponsorship agreements for the Richard S. Caligari Great Race. Public Works Committee, Mr. Coghill is the chair. We have Bill number 766. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to execute relevant agreements to receive grant funding from the Federal Department of Homeland Security to install diesel exhaust apparatus in multiple emergency medical services stations and providing for an agreement. Bill number 778. Resolution approving the recommendations made by the Director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure that Darlington Court be paved with asphalt in accordance with Section 417.06 of the Pittsburgh City Code. Human Resources Committee, Mr. Kraus is the chair. We have Bill number 769. Resolution amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh City Code, Title VI, Conduct, Article 5, Discrimination, Chapter 659, Unlawful Practices, Section 659.02, Unlawful Employment Practices, 659.03, Unlawful Housing Practices, and 659.04, Unlawful Public Accommodation Practices, to prohibit employment, housing, and public accommodation discrimination based on hairstyle and protective and cultural hair textures and hairstyles. Land Use and Economic Development Committee, Mr. Wilson is the chair. We have Bill number 774. Resolution providing for the designation as a historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances that certain structures known as the Gallagher Kiefer House, located at 234 Dithra Street in North Oakland. Bill number 775. Resolution providing for the designation as a historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances that certain structure known as the Heron Hill Pumping Station located at 4501 Center Avenue in North Oakland. Bill number 776. Resolution providing for the designation as a historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances that certain structure known as St. John Vianney Church, located at 225 Allen Street in Allentown. Parks and Recreation Committee, Reverend Burgess is the chair. We have Bill number 763. Resolution providing for an agreement with the Pittsburgh Board of Public Education or another vendor chosen through the city bid process for the purpose of providing meals in connection with the 2020 through 2021 food service program in the Department of Parks and Recreation Total cost shall not exceed $850,000. Bill number 764, resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Parks and Recreation to execute relevant agreements to receive grant funding from the United States Tennis Association to provide supplies to reopen the Mellon tennis bubble, which is currently closed to the public due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and further providing for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $5,000 for this stated purpose. Bill number 765, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of the Rachel O. Afalabi in an amount not to exceed $1,200 for the payment of services for the introduction of technology, training, development, and delivery services rendered to the youth of the city at some of the city parks recreation centers. Intergovernmental Affairs Committee, Ms. Gross is the chair. We have Bill number 299. Resolution authorizing the mayor and the director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a project cooperation agreement or professional services agreement with Grounded Strategies for the purposes of implementing a city farms pilot project, amount not to exceed $45,000. Bill number 634, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for proposed land development located at 316 South Highland Avenue. Bill number 767, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for the 5803 Center Avenue residential retail development. Bill number 768, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewage facilities plan for the Carnegie Mellon University Scaife Hall at 4805 Frew Street. Bill number 779, resolution requesting the approval of an intermunicipal transfer of liquor license to the applicant Cabaret LLC for the premises located at 7926 Frankstown Avenue, known as Cabaret LLC, pursuant to amended Pennsylvania Liquor Code. That concludes the reading of the legislation up for preliminary approval. Thank you and have a wonderful day.
Good morning and welcome to the Standing Committee meeting for Wednesday, October 7th, 2020. Council will continue to meet virtually on Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. until further notice. All meetings will be live streamed on the city's YouTube channel. Our first order of business is public comment. I would like to remind all speakers that the rules of council state that comments are limited to matters of concern, official action, or deliberation, which may be before city council. Profanity will not be permitted. Once you are called, please give your name and neighborhood for the record. Our first speaker is Shaman Pomai. Is Shaman Pomai with us? I don't see the name. I'll move on to Ikuhana Haumalkina.
Greetings of peace, light, and love. My title is Ikahana Makina, the Grand Inca of the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People. I would like to also thank, and I didn't get the opportunity to thank Councilperson Strasburger for reaching out and confirming a date with us, and also the President of the Council, Teresa Smith for reaching out to us, even in a time when things are difficult right now for her. So I wanted to acknowledge her as well as reaching out to us, and we appreciate that. Much gratitude I extend to those who have reached out. And again, I'll employ those who have not, that a conversation needs to be had as to the importance of Indigenous people, Aboriginal American people who are still here on our land. And I obviously have children in the background, and I thank those who acknowledge that children are a part of this conversation as well. And so I want to continue to open up this dialogue for us to begin to right some of the wrongs that have happened to our people. Namely, most importantly, is the educational component. We have not been taught properly through the education system, and we will be opening up dialogue soon with the Board of Education in this particular area as to put the correct information out there. We all know that Christopher did not discover America, okay? And so this council's art division has decided to take down a statue that once paid tribute and homage to a person who was a murderer. That was a travesty. And coming up in the education system, I was taught to honor this person. There's a whole day given to this person who murdered and genocided on the people of the land. And so there's obviously something wrong, that this had gone on for far too long. Has Christopher been given the credit for discovering a place that my ancestors dwelled since time immemorial? We have been here. We are still here, and we will continue to speak our truth, even if our voices should. And I yield the rest of my time.
Thank you very much. Our next registered speaker is Kotu Kibe. Is Kota Kibe with us this morning? I do not see the name.
Unmuted.
Hello?
Greetings, and grand. How are we today? Again, I am Kota Kibe of the Iroquois Confederacy, Aboriginal American people. We represent the Aboriginal peoples of the Americas. Again, I want to remind City Council, members of this municipality of the United States of America, to remind the debt obligation of the United States of America, of that government, and the governments of several states, debt and obligation and duty to our people. Remind them of the numerous treaties, covenants, and agreements that were entered into on behalf of the United States and its several municipalities. And also the breaking of those covenants and agreements. And it's mighty ironic that these municipalities want people to abide by the statutes, codes, and policies, but yet the municipalities are constantly refusing to abide by the supreme law of land, which everyone has taken the oath to uphold, to protect, and to ensure the liberty and prosperity of our people, as well as your citizens. It is a big duty and a lot of commitment on the part of members of the City Council who has taken that oath, who has picked up that mantle and is responsible for carrying out the duties and debt obligations of the United States government and those of the several states. So we need that acknowledgement. We need the honor and the respect. And again, I'm pleased to see that some of the members of the City Council has indeed fact, accepted our invitation. And there's still more to go, as we really need to have and speak with and enlighten everybody and make people aware as to who we are, make people aware to their duties and responsibilities under the Constitution. So City Council can make policies and wise legislation for your people when dealing with our people. We can come together and overcome the obstacles that are in the way that's blocking progress for all peoples. So I look forward to working with everybody and enlightening people and get some enlightenment myself as we move forward together, as they state in the treaties, as brothers and sisters going down the same river. However, the United States and the municipalities are in their boat or canoe, we in ours, meaning the separation of jurisdiction, and that has been breached, and we need to repair that. So I look forward to the repairs and to moving forward.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Minister J. Dominique. Is Minister Dominique with us? I don't see the name. Our next speaker is Dana Fowler.
Yes, good morning, City Council. My name is Dana Fowler. I am from what I call the lost neighborhood of Lincoln Lemington. And the reason I call it my lost neighborhood, I have been a citizen of this neighborhood since 1968 when my parents bought the home that I live in now, is now my home. And between 1981, after I graduated from Taylor Alderdice High School and proceeded to Tuskegee University, and 1987, somewhere in between there, I'm calling about, first thing of order is the city street cleaning. There are no signs in our neighborhood. And I did make a city of Pittsburgh. I was trying to make, and that's the purpose of this call, some house cleaning in the forgotten neighborhood of Lincoln. I guess you all removed it because of gangbangers back in the day that were little teenagers that the police should have been able to shut down, but they did not. But that's a story within itself. But we do not get street cleaning in our neighborhood. And Councilman Burgess has gotten us new streets fixed, and we need to have street cleaning. I would like you all to put that in the budget for the Lincoln Lemington area street cleaning, please. Clean the garbage. The only way we get it is to call 311 at this time. Number two, you all did the Paulson Playground without getting the consensus of the community, and you removed the swimming pool and put in a beautiful spray park. But there are still some issues, and mind you, I must tell you my background. I have a degree in architecture and construction science and management. I worked for the city of Chicago, laid a lot of streets, bridges, and viaducts. So these things are coming from an educated African-American woman. So at Paulson Playground, you all put in a beautiful playground, spray park for the children, but you left a very big sore thumb on the playground, which is the rusted fence behind the playground to stop the baseball, because it's a baseball park, and it's to stop baseballs from hitting the playground. It's been rusted since I came back in 1994 to take care of my mother. If you don't have money to buy a brand new fence in the budget, then, and it should be a galvanized fence or Lord, forgive me if I say stainless steel. That's really out of the.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Apiyala. Our next speaker is Apiyala. I do see the name.
Greetings, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How's everyone today? All right. I wanted to share with you as we move forward some of the things and the concerns that we have and things that we are implementing and putting in place. And just kind of wanted to state on the record the freedoms and liberties that we have as we move about and the things that we will be meeting and discussing. So just to place on the record, by the order of the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal American People, we deem it necessary for our members to travel freely and unmolested throughout our ancestral land, which includes North, Central, South America, and all of the islands. Whereas in the course of our travels, we conduct our official government business, the Aboriginal people shall not be stopped or detained, subject to any forced testing or vaccinations, or any other form of assimilation. We do respectfully practice our social distancing as discretion based on our, environments and places that we may be. And we are constitutionally protected and have the liberty to do so. Whereas Article 20, Section 2 and 3 of the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People states, number 2, Indigenous people have the right to assemble on our own land in ceremonial sites and areas. For that purpose, we also are free to access those places and use the sites, areas, and resources. 3, Indigenous people, in particular those who are divided by international borders, have the right to travel and to maintain and develop contacts, relations, and direct cooperation, including activities for spiritual, cultural, political, economical, and social purposes with our lineage and other places. Whereas the United States has policies and procedures for its citizens during times of national disaster or national emergencies and pandemics, we, the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal People, have a government-to-government relationship with the United States, stipulated in Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3 of the Constitution. And therefore, the United States government in its several states has assumed a trust responsibility and obligation to our people, the Aborigines of America, pursuant to House Congress Resolution 331, which was the 100th Congress, second session. And to conclude, the Iroquois Confederacy of Aboriginal People will hold all municipal governments, officers, officials, contracted agents, agencies accountable for the trust responsibility and obligation established in the United States Constitution. In addition to that, as outlined in 49 U.S., I think it was Statute 102, Section F, Part 2, clearly says the responsibility of the Secretary, Transportation. In carrying out this title, the Secretary shall be responsible to exercise the trust obligation of the United States to Indians and Indian tribes to ensure that our rights of...
Thank you very much. There being no further speakers, we will now move on to our standing committee agenda. And would the clerk please take the roll?
Reverend Burgess.
Here.
Mr. Coghill.
Here.
Ms. Gross.
Here.
Mr. Kraus. Mr. O'Connor.
Here.
Mrs. Cal-Smith.
Here.
Ms. Strasburger.
Here.
Mr. Wilson.
Here.
Mr. Lavelle, Chair.
Here.
8 members present.
Thank you. Our first committee of the day is Finance and Law, which is chaired by myself. We have 2 new papers, first one being Bill 771.
Bill 771, Resolution amending Resolution 880 of 2019, which authorized the fee schedule for 2020 pursuant to Chapter 170 of the City Code in order to update the fees associated with the Shinley Park Ice Rink for the remainder of 2020.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The bill is recommended. Our next bill, 772.
772, resolution providing for the issuance of a warrant in the total sum of $392,000 in favor of DH, a minor by and through her natural guardian CRH in care of the law Timothy P. O'Brien, Esquire, in final settlement related to action filed in the Western District Court of Pennsylvania.
Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is recommended. That takes us to our invoices. We do have invoices for approval. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Invoices are approved. We do have interdepartmental transfers. Need a motion for those?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The transfers are approved. We also have P cards for approval today. Need a motion for the P cards.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? P cards are approved. That takes us to Public Safety Services Committee chaired by Councilman O'Connor. One new paper, Bill 773.
Bill 773, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of public safety to enter into 3 sponsorship agreements for the Richard S. Caligari Race.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill is recommended. That takes us to Public Works Committee chaired by Councilman Coghill. Bill 766.
Bill 766, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to execute relevant agreement to seek grant funding from the Federal Department of Homeland Security to install diesel exhaust apparatus in multiple emergency medical services stations, and further providing for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $591,625.75. Supplemental funds from the city 2021 capital budget are required in the amount of $446,457.96 for this stated purpose, for a total project cost $1,038,083.71.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is recommended. Bill 778.
Bill 778, resolution approving the recommendation made by the Director of the Department of Mobility and Infrastructure that Darlington Court be paved with asphalt in accordance with Section 41706 of the Pittsburgh Code of Ordinances.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill is recommended. That takes us to Human Resources Committee chaired by Councilman Kraus. We have one new paper, Bill 769.
Bill 769, ordinance amending and supplementing the Pittsburgh City Code Title 6, Conduct Article 5, discrimination, unlawful practices, unlawful employment practices, unlawful housing practices, and unlawful public accommodation practices to prohibit employment, housing, and public accommodation discrimination based on hairstyle and protective and cultural hair textures and hairstyles.
Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Councilman Burgess?
I will say this as a principle. Certainly I will vote in favor of the bill, but I think it's important for us to learn a principle. we are living in a country where we have acknowledged, council has voted, that in our city, racism is a public health crisis. We all agreed and know that racism is pervasive throughout our city. That is a fact. And so there are some people who say, well, you know, I'm not doing actively racist things, or I don't view myself as being discriminatory, and that's okay. But if you're not African American, if you're a minority, if you're not a minority, you are benefiting from the system. Without doing anything, your standard of living, probably your home in terms of its worth, all were achieved not really because of pulling yourself by your own bootstraps, but the system was designed so that you are rewarded and African Americans are punished. So moving forward, it is not just enough to say that I'm not actively doing bad things, because simply by doing nothing, you are benefiting. The standard now, and the standard that we should hold ourselves to, is what active thing are we doing to eliminate institutional racism? What are the active things? How are we, what active things, how are we supporting and encouraging African American leadership? How are we supporting and encouraging investment in African American communities? How are we encouraging and how are we investing in Black people? It is not enough to be neutral, because being neutral, you are still part of the problem. And so as we move forward in this legislation, and I'm not being critical, I'm simply laying down the challenge of how those of us who want to be progressive, and I know it's not easy, and I'm not saying it is. It is my life's work, but it is, I know not everyone's life's work, but we have to work until all of our districts receive equal investments. The standard of living is equal, and it's going to take time. And so I want to, with this legislation, suggest that's the goal. The goal is in our personal lives, in our professional lives, and on council, that we are not just saying, well, you know, I'm not doing actively discriminatory things, Ricky. Well, so I can't be racist. No, if you're not actively doing things to empower African Americans and African American communities, you're still part of the problem. And so I want to, and I want to thank, even publicly, I want to thank Bobby Wilson and Erica Strasburger, who I've talked to at some length, both of them, and their love for all people and their willingness to partner with me. I appreciate it more than you know. And certainly Council President Smith, whose heart is always with people who are downtrodden. So this legislation is simply part of us moving forward. But I sort of just want to make that explanation that it is, and I won't drop books today, but I will over time share books and resources with you. It's not enough simply to look on and say, I'm not actively doing things when you have been rewarded. You know, again, my father's house in Homewood, he bought it in 1957. He bought it for $15,000. He paid off his mortgage. The bank wouldn't give him a mortgage. He sent all of his kids to college, worked, retired, worked a job after he retired. But simply because he was forbidden to buy a house anywhere else other than Homewood, his house in 2020 is still worth $15,000. Yet if that same house had been in Southside Flats, if that same house had been in Point Breeze or Shadeside, or any predominantly non-African American community, not only would that house would have been worth more, he would have been able to give that wealth to his sons and to his grandchildren. The system was designed to punish him and to reward other people. So therefore, we have to take steps as a council and as a city to change our city so that everyone can equally and fairly benefit. And I thank members of council for your support in this work. But I want to make clear what the goals are. We have to be now intentional and active in terms of investment and encouragement to Black people in the places and spaces in which they live. Thank you very much.
Excuse me. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The bill is recommended. That'll take us to our Land Use and Economic Development Committee, chaired by Councilman Wilson. Bill 774.
774, resolution providing for the designation as a historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances that certain structure known as the Gallagher Kiefer House located at 234 Dithers Bridge Street in the North Oakland 4th Ward.
Motion to hold for cablecast public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill is held for a public hearing. Actually, Madam Clerk, can we read the next two together? They all need it.
775, resolution providing for the designation as a historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances that certain structure known as the Harry and Hill Pumping Station located at 4501 Center Avenue, North Oakland, 5th Ward. Bill number 776, resolution providing for the designation as a historic structure under Title 11 of the Code of Ordinances that certain structure known as the St. John Vianney Church located at 225 Allen Street in Allentown, 18th Ward of the city.
Motion to hold for cablecast public hearing for both of them.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Both will be held for a cablecast public hearing. That takes us to Urban Recreation Committee, chaired by Reverend Burgess. Number of new papers, Bill 763.
Bill 763, resolution providing for an agreement with the Pittsburgh Board of Public Education or another vendor chosen through the city bid process for the purpose of providing meals in connection with the 2020-2021 food service program in the Department of Parks and Recreation. The total cost shall not exceed $850,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill is recommended, excuse me. Bill 764.
Bill 764, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Parks and Recreation to execute relevant agreement to receive grant funding from the United States Tennis Association to provide supplies to reopen the Mellon Tennis Bubble, which is currently closed to the public due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and further providing for an agreement and expenditures not to exceed $5,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill is recommended. Bill 765.
Bill 765, resolution authorizing the issuance of a warrant in favor of Rachel O. Afolabi in an amount not to exceed $1,200 for the payment of services for the introduction of technology training, development, and delivery services rendered to the youth of the city at some of the city parks recreation centers and providing for the payment thereof.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill is recommended. That'll take us to our last committee of the day, Intergovernmental Affairs, chaired by Councilman Gross. Two deferred papers, Bill 299.
Bill 299, resolution authorizing the mayor and director of the Department of Public Works to enter into a project corporation agreement or professional services agreement with Grounded Strategy of implementing a city farms pilot project in an amount not to exceed $45,000.
Motion to approve with discussion.
Second.
Thanks. I'm still trying to figure this out, but for the, meanwhile, instead of keeping it rolling anymore on the council agendas as it's been for months now. I'm gonna motion to table and with the indulgence that it may come back. Like we're still actively working on these sites and still trying to figure out the process with the department. So motion to table Bill 299.
Second.
Can we have a roll call vote?
Reverend Burgess. Mr. Coghill.
Aye.
Ms. Gross.
Aye.
Mr. Kraus. Mr. O'Connor.
Aye.
Carol Smith.
Aye.
Ms. Strasburger.
Aye.
Mr. Wilson.
Aye.
Mr. Lavelle Chair.
Aye.
Aye 7, no 0.
And the bill is tabled. That takes us to our next bill, Bill 634.
Bill 634, resolution adopting plan revisions to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for proposed land development located at 316 South Highland Avenue.
Motion to hold 4 weeks.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Bill will be held 4 weeks. It takes us to our new papers, Bill 767.
Bill 767, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for the 5803 Center Avenue residential retail development.
Motion to hold 4 weeks.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Can I just ask why we're holding both bills for 4 weeks?
Yeah, President Smith, actually, if you would like to help get back in the loop of the meeting with Planning Commission, I can tell you specifically the one on Center Avenue in my district doesn't have any permits. It doesn't even have its site approval. So we have two things happening that I've been talking about now for 6 months that we're working with law and planning. Either the building gets built without its sewer permit, which is unacceptable, or the sewer permit comes to us before it even has planning approvals, which is also not the way it's happened for 6 years. So there's something very out of sync happening.
Okay.
We're trying to get, and so they just shouldn't be hitting our agenda when they're hitting us. Either they're hitting it too late or too early.
Okay, so I'm ready to work with you on that too.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
it.
Thank you. I believe we already voted, Madam Clerk.
Yes,
Okay. Thank you. Bill 768.
Bill 768, resolution adopting plan revision to the City of Pittsburgh's official sewer facilities plan for the Carnegie Mellon University Scoff 480 Scoff Hall at 4805 View Street.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
I believe this one is on the right track. And I'll let you know Tuesday if it isn't. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing
I just
none,
want to thank Councilwoman Gross for keeping such a great eye on these projects.
thank you.
It's one of those things that gets a bee in my bonnet for some reason.
Thank you. All those in favor? Oh, Councilman Wilson?
I just want to say that you mentioned city planning, Councilwoman. I know that we're waiting. Apparently, they said they're waiting on the law department for some clarification. But I've been getting some clarification on my end as well, and so hopefully we can have that discussion soon.
Yeah, I suggested to the director of planning also that we all just jump on a call anyway, even if that, you know, and instead of waiting for the memo to be finished whenever it's finished. So I'm happy to do that anytime. Appreciate it.
Do you want to schedule that, Councilwoman, or do you want one of us?
Oh, I'm happy to. Thank you. I'll send an email today.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The bill is recommended. That takes us to our last bill, Bill 779.
Bill 779, resolution requesting approval of an intermunicipal transfer of liquor license from Unfolded Enterprises, Inc. to the applicant Cabaret LLC for the premises located at 7926 Franktowns Avenue, known as Cabaret LLC, pursuant to amended Pennsylvania Liquor Code.
Motion to hold for Cablecast public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Bill will be held for a cablecast public hearing. That exhausts our agenda. For today, we do have meeting announcements. This afternoon at 1:30 p.m., a cablecast public hearing is scheduled via the Zoom platform on Bill 646, 682, and 683 as they relate to the historic designation for the John P. Robick Civic Building, the Honor Rosenberg House, and the Spring Hill School. To register to speak, please call the city clerk's office at 412-255-2138 by 11:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. You may also submit comment by emailing cityclerksoffice@pittsburghpa.gov. Please note that written comments will not be read during the meeting. In addition to our regular and standing committee meetings next Tuesday and Wednesday at 10 a.m., Council will hold a cablecast public hearing next Wednesday, October 21st at 1:30 p.m. on Bill 702 and 703 as they relate to naming previously unnamed trails in Southside Park and Highland Park to Keeling Coal Trail and Cattail Trail, respectively. Any announcements from members? Councilwoman Gross.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I am showing on my calendar that those public hearings are today at 1:30. But
Yeah.
did you say to tell the public, I think, to call tomorrow by tomorrow at 11:30?
I
So
misspoke. I apologize.
thank you. I just wanted to see what I was heard. So that would be today at 11:30. They can
Yes.
still call and register to be heard at the public hearing. Okay.
Yep, I apologize. Any further comments from members? Seeing none, we need a motion to excuse the absent member, approve the minutes, and adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
We are adjourned.